Hi there, it's Tom from Wage Freedom, and this is day 4 of the Wage Freedom video challenge, where I'm going to answer the questions that I've gotten most over the years about being an expat in Bali and how to support yourself while you're here. Had a little bit of a tech problem, so this is actually day 3.5, but don't tell anybody, okay? I've changed position in my my little Bali here. I'm here at the Jayakarta complex in right on the border between Legian and Seminyak, about 100 yards from the sand. Today's topic that I'm going to answer, a little bit of a touchy subject. This is the question that I get a lot isn't so much, hey, can I come and live in Bali for about $4,000 or $5,000 a month, Aussie or U.S. dollars? I don't get that question because it's pretty clear that if you have that kind of income, or if that kind of money to spend, that you certainly can live here with that much money. I do get the question, how little do I need? Can I live in Bali for $1,000 US a month, for example? All right. So I was sitting with a couple of my friends the other day, people I respect, and this came up, and they sort of laughed me out of the restaurant. Not quite, but my contention was that you certainly can come with $1,000 US a month and live in Bali. I know that you can because I know several people who are doing it right now, in addition to maybe hundreds of Indonesians who do it, okay? So you certainly can do it for less than it's about 13 million rupiah a month, okay? $1,000 US. Let's just take that as a baseline, okay? Could you do it for less? Yeah, you can. But let's just take that as an idea, all right? I argued with my buddies and I said, listen, a lot of folks, old timers, they've got everything is set, and there's no way they could conceive of themselves living for that little amount of money here. But the fact is, if you wanted to be here and maybe you were leaving, something like a sort of a life situation behind, a bad job, or just you needed a break for 6 months or more, how little do you need? Can you do it on $1,000 a month? Yeah, you can. And I'm going to get specific here. Your visa. I'm going to assume that you come on a social visa, all right? Which will be, let's say, roughly $750,000 a month after the first 2 months. The cost of the visa plus paying the agent for the extensions, okay? You get your social visa, you've got 2 months off the airplane. If you want to stay 6 months, you do 4 extensions at about $750 each, all right? Visa plus agent, all right? So it's 3 million total, all right, over 4 months. So it's 750,000 a month, all right? Again, 13 million rupiah is what we're talking about here, okay? So the visa doesn't really pose a problem, especially since you get your first 2 months already with the social visa, okay? So accommodations. All right, so the more money you have, as always, the better. But you can, and I do cover this in my book, How to Live in Bali. And I'm not pushing it. I'm not trying to sell it, but I do cover it in detail in my book. But the cheapest way to live here is in something called a cost, K-O-S-T. All right. A cost is a local. Well, all it is a bunch of rooms around a central courtyard on the ground floor. The really cheap costs have both kitchens and toilets outside of the room, and no aircon. Okay, they're just simply one room. Okay, for Indonesians without a lot of money, maybe before they get married, a cost is quite the normal way to live. You can get a cost for 500,000 rupiah. All right, that's 50 Aussie dollars. All right. That's about 37 US dollars. I'm serious, per month. So $1 a day if you wanted to go super cheap. Would I recommend it? No, because if you could, assuming you can afford it, much nicer to have a toilet inside your unit and also some at least basic cooking facilities, okay? And you don't have to pay that much more to be in a cost where you do get inside toilet and a place to cook, okay? So how much are those costs, the slightly upgraded costs? Well, you can definitely get them for, let's say, $3 million a month, all right? That's 225 US, or roughly 300 Aussie a month, okay? So, and these are livable, and even in pretty decent locations. I'm talking about on the right side of Leguian, the beach side of Leguian, so within a few hundred meters or yards of the beach, okay? I mean, you really can. You have to dig, you have to look, but you can do it. I'm going to include a link to a couple places where you can do your accommodation search, okay? And you'll see that you know the sort of the levels that you're looking at for costs. From, again, I'm not going to suggest getting into a cost for less than $1 million a month, but for $3.5 million, $4 million, you can get into something livable. Again, if money's tight. If you really, if it's the difference between you being here and not coming at all because you just don't have the money, okay? So let's take that ballpark. Let's say $4 million a month. Plus you've got your $750 for your visa, okay? So we're a tad under $5 million, okay? And we're trying to keep it under 13 million and change, okay, per month, all right? Let me emphasize, a cost $3-4 million, fine. If you pay 5, 6, 7 million, you can get yourself into a little apartment that's not a single room, that is quite livable. All right, I have a lot of friends in that kind of situation, you know, and especially if you're willing to stay for 6 months or more, you can get month to month here, okay, but you will definitely save on a per month basis if you will negotiate up front and say, you know, it's at least for 6 months or more if you can swing it. But, you know, 6 months will definitely get you a price break, okay? So that really, seriously, 5 or 6 million is quite realistic for a nice decent little apartment with the cooking facilities and the rest of it, okay? Accommodation and visa. So that's covered. Now, the thing about Indonesia, about eating, is you have so many choices. You have a lot of choices, and here in Bali, those choices are even amplified because in addition to Indonesian food, you have unlimited, Western food choices. I mean, Turkish food, Mexican food, you want to just pretty much you name it, it's here, you know, and usually very good and hygienic and the rest of it. It's a different video. I won't cover it today, but eating in Bali is a pleasure, and it's always value for money. Whether you're paying $1 for a meal or, you know, going crazy and spending $10 US for a meal, okay, or more. The point is, again, if money's super tight, you can go to these, go to eat warung food for literally $1, 15,000, 18,000 rupiah. And do that a few times a day. It's under, let's say, 10 Aussie dollars or 750 US, multiplied by 30. You know, we're at, let's say, a few million rupiah, added onto our, let's say, roughly 5 million that we're up to so far. If you're willing to live in a cost, those three things: your visa, accommodation, and food. Those are your major expenses to be here, okay? And you're still at 8 million with a 5 million a month cushion. Now, getting yourself a motorbike, you should be able to do that by the month for roughly 500,000 rupiah, all right? $37 US, about 50 bucks Aussie, all right? So, transportation, food, accommodation, visa. Have we got any other big expenses? Now, if you like a beer, like a lot of folks do, you can buy them at the store at the Bintang market, I think for about 18,000. Do the math. I don't know how many you need to drink every month. When I was a drinker, I needed quite a bit. But you can. The drinking is the one thing that could blow your budget, like anywhere in the world, right? So, that's a personal thing, and that comes probably not in the realm of how to. I can tell you how to live on a super budget, but being a serious partier on a super budget, that's probably a different video again. But you can definitely, at that price, you can do the math. Let's say $1.80 Aussie, or under $2 US at the at a store, if you for a few beers a day, whatever. Okay. Yeah, going out to bars can get expensive because you're basically in the tourist economy if you do that, right? So beers at a pub, I think you can definitely spend 25, 30,000 or more for a 300 milliliter beer. So that can easily blow your budget like anywhere else. But again, we're talking about how little you need to get by. So for me, accommodation, visa, transportation, and food, I pretty much covered it. Other miscellaneous, what is there? I mean, it'll always vary based on the person, but in terms of what you really, really need, I think we've pretty much covered it. And again, we're still well under that $1,000 US. We're under $1,000 Aussie too. So look, if you have questions about other expenses here, just leave them in the comments. I'll do the best I can to help. I've been here for over 12 years. And so I can help you with expenses, basic or otherwise. Healthcare could blow your budget. That's a different deal. Expat insurance can get relatively expensive, but you can, for under 300 US, a couple can, unless you're, let's say, in your 60s, a couple can definitely pay for expat insurance. My wife and I, about $270 US a month, okay, for expat insurance that covers evacuation to a first world country should we need it. So I guess that's another expense that I would recommend that you undertake, even if you're on a budget, just to be safe, to be careful. And that's pretty spendy. But and again, it's less than that's for a couple, so it's quite a bit less than that if you're coming as an individual, and if you're younger. So that's an additional deal. But anyway, look, if you have any other questions about specifics, just leave them in the comments, and I'll try my best to help you out. As always, I appreciate any shares, any thumbs up, any likes, any please add me on Facebook, subscribe to the YouTube channel. You know the drill. I don't want to belabor it, but I really appreciate, I hope you got some use out of this video and the other ones I'm doing, and I appreciate you watching. I really do. Again, Tom from wagefreedom.com, coming to you from Bali, Indonesia, where the sun is going down. Thanks a lot for watching, and have a good day or evening wherever you are.